girl, Terez. I'm a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, the director of cheer for Ballinger Creek Council over at Crestwood Middle School, and I'm also a varsity cheer coach over at Frederick High School. Today, I am on my second Zoom interview. And guys, we're here quarantine style, talking about a local life here with Judy Whims. She's a school counselor over at Oakdale High School and a mom of two. So we're just trying to figure out how they're dealing with this COVID pandemic. Hey, Judy, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Phenomenal. Just wanted to check in, see how you guys were adjusting to the work at home, homeschooling, and mommy mode most of the world is facing today due to the COVID pandemic. How are you guys adjusting over there?
We're adjusting. We are 7 weeks in, so we've had to continuously make adjustments. So, but we are kind of settling in. Routines, sometimes they change, but as long as we have one, we're good.
Exactly.
It's a lot to manage.
Well, I'm sure, because are you still talking to your families on a counselor standpoint, or are you more so like what is your role now? How did that switch?
So absolutely. One of the major things for us as educators, period, is not being able to see students face to face. So that was really but it was very concerning when we first shut down. It's like, how do we, not necessarily how do we maintain communication, because we have different methods in order to do that, but our most vulnerable students, how do we make sure that they're okay? So that was a huge concern for me, amongst many other educators, I'm sure. But my role right now, as we are teleworking, is to maintain those, that level of communication with families, just try to troubleshoot and problem solve. And we do everything from helping to create the master schedules for next year's classes. We do a lot of college questions, applications, transcripts, scholarships. We do a lot. There are many facets to this particular position.
Awesome. So it sounds a little similar. I spoke with Janine Beck yesterday. She's the achievement specialist of school culture, and she was pretty much just telling me a lot of phone calls, staying in front of the parents and things like that, and the family. So it seems like everybody is sort of adjusting in the same manner, regardless of which role you're playing.
Absolutely.
In the child's education, which is extremely important. Mm-hmm. And I saw some photos of you on Facebook doing like this school spirit week. That was pretty awesome. How did that go?
That was great. I think that was organized. Typically, one of our assistant principal organizes the Spirit Week or is involved in that. So I believe that was maybe the first week we were out of school, or the first week we came back for continuity of instruction, and it was fun. So I mean, it was nice to participate. I typically participate when we're in school anyway, so why not participate virtually? So it was nice.
Awesome. Did you guys do that decorating the door for the seniors?
So I didn't, because I don't have a senior. So I did not participate in the door decoration.
Okay. Are those pictures coming out like soon? Do you know?
I'm not really sure what the time frame is for that. I would guess because we're right into May that might be coming out. I know that there was a new senior class of 2020 May initiative that just was posted and went out. I want to find out first here in the last couple of days. So we'll probably be seeing some of those creative minds at work soon.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump right in here. I'm super excited to have you on today, and I definitely want to thank you, because speaking with you can definitely help a lot of families deal with, just maybe getting through this moment. A lot of people are fearful, I know it, but we got this. So I've known you since, I believe, Crestwood Middle School. You were the PE teacher over there many moons ago.
Yes.
school. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So you're right. We started our relationship and contact when I was over at Crestwood. You had your two of your kids come through there that I have and know. So I was at Crestwood for the first 6 years of my career. I've been at Oakdale we're in our 10th year at Oakdale. So this is our 10th anniversary for Oakdale High School. So I've been in the system for, finishing up in my 16th year now.
Nice, nice, awesome. So we already know you're a school counselor. Why, and I know you started out as PE, you've been involved in children's lives on all facets. Why do you do it? How do you feel? Why do you do it?
Well, I've always known that I wanted to do something where I was working with people. I didn't particularly know that it was going to be with children, but when I went to FCC, my major was human services, adult and family trauma. So, I worked for the Community Action Agency through college. I worked for 14 years with the Frederick County Mental Health Association. So I always know that I, wanted to do something with people in the betterment of their lives. And I think that pretty much has to do with the people who poured into me for the improvement and betterment of my life. And so it's worked out, and I love it.
Awesome, awesome. And it's funny that you said you went to FCC for something other than education. I went to FCC to become an early hood education teacher, and yet I'm a realtor. So it's like, no matter what you set out to do, it might not be the master plan. But at the end of the day, since school has been canceled, what is your family doing to stay focused, and how are the kids adjusting to their new schedules and studies at home?
So initially, when we had the 2-week break, the 2-week break, and there was no real instruction coming from the schools. We started a routine immediately because, I really didn't know what that looked like. At that time, I wasn't required to work, even though, we still worked. So we set a schedule down, and I'm a very, I'm a planner. And so schedules are good for me, and routines are good for me. So we started out with that. And then, as we went into the continuity of instruction, that changed. We had to morph it a little bit. So our day kind of looks like, I try to work in the morning until around lunchtime. The kids each have an hour of schooling from 9 to 10. So, the 9 o'clock, we're not waking up at 5:30 a.m. as we would, but you can't sleep all day. So you have to get up, you have to, get your day started. Then they have a little free time. And that's primarily because in the afternoon, I hope to have my at least 1 to 3 slot available so I can help my youngest daughter. So that's what we've been trying to do. The oldest is, in middle school, so she's more independent learner right now, but the youngest, needs my attention, and that's hard. That's hard.
I can imagine. Wow. So I know with the kids studying from home, and you guys obviously have certain technologies as far as internet and computers and things like that. Does the school have additional technologies that they're putting in place for, like, what are you guys using in terms of communication with teachers and things like that?
For me as a counselor?
Oh, the girls.
So my girls, of course, I, born and raised in Frederick County, work for FCPS, but we live in a different county now. So my daughter, the oldest one, she's in the age group where they are one-to-one. The youngest one, much like I believe how FCPS offers the one-to-one devices, is not necessarily, it's for the older students. So my youngest student does not have a school-issued one-to-one device, but fortunately we have technology here at home. So what they're doing is they are offering at the elementary level, at least primary ages, they're offering an opportunity for students to participate online if they have that access. And every week they're mailing home offline packets. So that has been a tremendous help. Initially, I thought I would have to, print a lot of work just because it's easier for her to have, you know, the hard copy in front of her before we input the information to the computer. But they're sending home these on a weekly basis, these hard copies, and they're setting up collection sites that are not necessarily at the schools, you know, out in the community where the I think they call them the meal machine vans. So they're making a tremendous effort in order to meet the needs of students and families.
I love it. I love it. That's what I wanted to do when this first started. I wanted to go out because I know Frederick High had an initiative and a lot of other local schools here in Frederick County where the schools were still preparing meals for the children. So I kind of wanted to go and serve there, but I have asthma. So I said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put something together where I can help serve on the sideline and still.
Right.
So, you know, in your opinion, what are some challenges that you're seeing from other students or even teachers or families just like yours during this lockdown? Do you see any challenges out there?
So I think that, you know, we've touched on a lot of those. You know, I think technology is a challenge. I mean, initially when, you know, districts across the country went to the online learning, there were some issues because of the capacity. You know, the systems were just overloaded. I think they've worked out a bunch of those issues now, which is good. So it's a little better. You know, it's a little easier, a little less frustrating. So I think technology certainly. What I do love about that is it seems like the community, individual people or small businesses, or even bigger businesses are stepping up and saying, hey, this is what we'll give you. This is what we now have available. We're making this available for families. We're making, you know, access available for students, whether it's for free or at a reduced rate. You know, I know FCPS went out and bought a bunch of hotspots so students can have access to internet at home. I mean, that's huge. And so even though it's a challenge, I think that all the challenges that are being presented to us and that we have to face, it seems like there are more and more people that are stepping up to troubleshoot and bring about some resolution. So I hope that that's taken some of the stress off of people.
I believe it is, and I love that because, you know, there's a quote out there, and I believe I'm a quote girl, but there's a quote out there that says, tough times don't last, tough people do. So with the whole community, like pulling together and kind of getting through this, I see so many people doing so much good out there for the community that it is just so exciting to see. It's like energizing, actually. So watch out COVID because, you know, Frederick County, Washington County, we're gonna get through this. So and you know, one of the things that you said earlier, we do have to stay on schedule and stay engaged and stay on purpose. What have you been doing to stay focused and engaged on your purpose during this time?
So aside from, you know, the routines, we have, you know, even in the classroom, even when I was a classroom teacher, you know, I would always say, it is a democracy, but it's really not, you know, it's really not. There are certain things that need to be done. And so that's kind of obviously what we do in our family, but everyone is we now have the opportunity and the time for everyone to be more involved in the decision making. So for instance, like I said, I'm a scheduler. So, hey, if it is your night to clean up, it is also your night to choose what family show we're going to watch or what game we're going to watch. So all of that is like embedded. It's not, I don't have to dictate what those activities include, but it's like, okay, it's time for us to do our exercise. What are we going to do? We're going for a walk, or we're going to, you know, we've participated in the virtual yoga classes, which the kids aren't so thrilled about, but it gives us an opportunity to experience and engage and participate in things that we don't normally do.
That's pretty awesome. So they don't like the virtual yoga. Have you been doing any exercise?
Sometimes I think they like it. They just like to pretend that they don't, you know?
So have you been reading any books or?
I'm a very much a hard paper copy person, so I don't do a lot of like Kindle reading or, um, but I've started to reread Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, it's because I love it. And I think at this particular time, it is, it's a story that I would love to revisit because I think it is, inspiring and motivational. And so I've started to reread that. But honestly, with all of the, with all the updates that are coming out, I feel like I'm reading more, policies and policy updates and for work and for and from the aspect of being a parent as well, and just trying to keep up with what's going on. So not a lot of pleasure reading, but I do other things. Like I love to garden, and we planted some trees and some shrubs, and you know trying to make sure that I'm planting my annuals at the right moment. Sometimes I plant too early, but so there are pleasure things to do.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. When I spoke with Janine yesterday, she actually told me that she was reading Becoming as well by Michelle Obama, and I actually got that book for my birthday. So I better dig into it because this is 2 times in a row, and there's no, you guys didn't speak to each other about this book thing. So I'm gonna jump on that book. As we're wrapping up the interview, what advice can you give families to help them get through this pandemic?
I would say keep perspective. Try to keep in mind that this is a fluid situation. It's forever changing, and that it's a tough situation for everybody. One thing I think is important, though, is that as communities and school districts and private individuals are stepping out and helping, don't be afraid to reach out for help. So, I think that sometimes we whatever those emotions are, embarrassment, shame, or just, not knowing, prevent us from reaching out if we need something, or even if you just need to talk to someone. I mean, it is, when I sit down and do work with my second graders, sometimes it's very frustrating, and it's only second grade, but I'm not I'm not her teacher that she's been with. I might not use the same verbiage that her teacher uses, that she's familiar with, that she understands, and that she gets. It might be a little different. So I would say, everybody give yourselves an opportunity to breathe and to take a break and to just step back.
I love it. I love it. So, in short, when you can't find the sunshine, be the sunshine.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again so very much for just meeting with me today, and hopefully being able to touch a few people in this situation to where they can maybe, understand that they're not alone, and maybe some things you're doing they can take and do themselves. So I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate everything you're doing in the, for the Tokyo high school and all the other platforms you've been on to change these children's lives. So thank you so very much.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing all of these because whatever advice and suggestions other people have, I want to hear those too. Thank you for doing what you're doing, Terez.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.